document. This is the document for week 3, and for week 3, these are
Secretary in YouTube.
yes. So this is the tax. This is the tax for week 3. Okay, so let's just copy the tax and let's add it to our HTML, our VS Code rather. So this is our VS Code, and I want to quickly create the boiler template. So this is it, and let me add the tax. So this is the tax for week 3. It says, the first one here says add a header. It's like your background is noisy, Mr. Abioye.
You said?
I said your background is a bit noisy. Can you hear me?
I'm hearing.
Okay. The background was noisy. So these are the tasks for week 3. The first one here, it says add a header with a title H1.
Okay. Let me try and reduce the noise. Let me try and reduce the noise on the background. It's a generator sound.
Okay.
Let me just mute first.
Okay. So the first task here, it says create a simple web page using HTML that includes the following elements. The first one here, it says add a header with title, okay, and subtitle. The title will be H1 and the subtitle will be H2.
Your screen has disappeared again.
Wow.
I can't see you. Okay, now it's back.
Okay. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, I can.
That's on the VS Code.
Yes,
Okay.
I can see it.
Okay, good. So this is the task now. The task here, it says, the first one here, it says add a header with a title H1 and a subtitle with H2. So basically that's for the task 1. So we are going to quickly do that. Let's just open our preview panel, or preview tab rather. I'm going to say the H1, and we are going to say this is our heading with H1. Okay, so we have done this. We have added an header or an heading with the H1 and a subtitle with H2. So we'll come here and say H2. Using the H2 element, we want to add the subtitle. Subtitle H2.
Your screen has disappeared again.
I believe maybe
It's back.
okay, it's back. Maybe it's the network. Okay, so this is our H1 and H2 element. So we have completed the task 1 or the first task. Okay, then the second task here says write a formatted paragraph, okay, using strong or emphasis tag. So we are going to do that now. Let's say paragraph, which is P, and we are going to say this is our paragraph. Okay, then let's just add 12. Okay, so this is our paragraph, and the tags here says use the strong tag or the emphasis tag. Okay, so let's do that now. What we are going to do now, okay, so what we are going to do now, we want to use the strong tag and the emphasis tag. So we can say this text is strong, while this is emphasized. Okay, so we are going to wrap each of these elements now with either the strong tag or the emphasis tag. So let's do that. I'm going to copy the strong and I'm going to wrap this strong here with the strong tag. Let me cut this. I'll put it in between the tags. Okay, and you can see it on
if I get it now, strong now is going to contain the strong tag.
I didn't get you clearly.
I said the strong tag now.
Yes.
Is it containing some content on its own?
Yes. It's containing some content, which means we want to format the paragraph using a strong tag, which means we want to make some of the text bold. The strong tag help you to make bold, to make some of the text bold. Like as you can see now, this place that I added
So
this
that
tag.
means that strong tag. That means the strong tag is going to be inside within the paragraph.
Yes, within the paragraph. So while the EM tag or the emphasis tag, we want to use it to wrap this our emphasized text. Okay, so we are going to put the emphasized text in between, and as you can see it now, this text is emphasized. It makes it to look like italics. That's what the emphasize or the EM tag does. Let me just remove these other ones here.
Okay.
So basically that's what the second task is about. The second task here that says write a formatted paragraph using the strong tag or the emphasis tag.
The emphasis tag is EM.
Yes, EM. So the next one here is to add an image with alt attributes, width and title attributes. So to add an image, use the img tag. The img tag, and you select the source, the location of your image. For instance, let me just snipe this as our image. Okay, and let me just save, and let's call this desktop. Where's this folder? So I'm going to drag, I want to drag this image now to our project. Let me just create a folder img, and I'm going to drag this image. Go to desktop and where is it? I believe this should be the image. So let's drag. Okay, so this is the image. Now I want to add this image. So we're going to set the tags for the third tag here. It says add an image with the alt attribute, width and title attribute. So I'm going to, first of all, I want to set the source, the source attribute, which is the location of the image. Then what the alt attribute does is that it acts as an alternate text. Let's say for instance now this image is not loading properly, the text that you set as the alt attribute will display instead. So you can say this is a screenshot of our code. Okay, so if for instance now the image is not loading properly or not loading correctly, let's say for instance, instead of png you just wrote pn, okay, it's going to display the auth attribute. You can see it right here. It says this is a screenshot of our code, which is the auth attribute. Okay, so
Okay, how does, excuse me please.
yes, I'm with you.
The alternate after the image has been displayed. The alternate now, what exactly is it doing on the image? What effect does it have on the image?
It does not have that physical effect on the image. Instead, it acts as an alternate text. This alt here is an alternate. So if for instance now your image is not displaying, okay, if your image is not displaying correctly, this text will be what this text is going to display on the page instead. So this text here, it acts as a description of the image, so that let's say for instance now your website users are unable to load the page or to load the image, this text will display here and it will help to guide the users to know the type of picture that is being added to the page. And also there are some devices called screen readers. They are mostly used for, I think, for disabled people. Such device can be used to read the content of our web page. So when a screen reader is going or is scanning through your web page, it reads out these auth attributes for your image. Okay, so this alternate text here or this auth attribute, it acts as a description of your image. But if your image is being displayed correctly, you won't see any physical effect of the auth attribute.
Okay.
Yeah. Then the next one here is the width attribute. The width attribute is basically to style or to size our image. So you can just say width and you can say let's say let me use 33 pixel. Okay, so as you can see now, we have sized this our image here to 333 pixel. That's the width that we have used for this image.
We're going to do that now, that the width and the whatever is going to be on that
inside
the image tag.
Yes, it's going to be inside the image tag, because we are not using it as CSS.
Okay. Yes.
So it's going to be inside the image tag. So that's what we have done now. You can see now we have set the width of our image to 333 pixels. Okay, so the next thing here is to add the title attribute. What the title attribute does is that it acts as a tooltip, that when you place your mouse on the element, when you place your mouse on the element, when you place your mouse on the element, the title attribute is going to display. For instance, let's say you want your image, whenever you place your mouse on this image, you want it to display code screenshots. Okay, so that's what the title does. You can see it now. When I place my mouse on this image, it's going to display code screenshots, because that's what I set as the title attribute. Okay, so is that clear?
Okay.
So the next one here is we're asked to create ordered or unordered list with at least one nested list. Okay, the nested list now is more like a list inside a list. Okay, so let's do that now. The ordered list. to create an ordered list, use the OL. Okay, to create an ordered list, use the OL. Then inside the ordered list now, you can add the list item using the LI. Okay, and you can say let's say orange. Then you can add another list item, let's say LI. Okay, so you can see now the ordered list adds number to your list item. It adds a number to your list item, while the unordered list, which is UL, the UL does not add number to your list item. It only use the bullet point. Okay, so to do this now, that says create a list. I didn't get you. I didn't get you clearly.
I said the nested list.
Okay, so to do that now, it says create a nested list. Let's say for instance now you want to create a nested list now. You can either use the ordered list first or the unordered list, but in this case let's just use the unordered list first, and we are going to say the list item now, let's say fruit. Okay, then the next item we want to list out animals. Okay, so inside the first list now we are going to create another list. Okay, so let's say OL then LI. Okay, so under fruit now I want to add pawpaw. Okay, then we want to add orange. Okay, then let's say we want to add banana. Okay, so this is a nested list. Is that clear?
So inside the nested list, under that list or not that?
The nested list, like I said, you can use either OL or UL to nest your list. You can use either OL or UL to nest your list. It all depends on what you want to do. So okay, let's just use the ordered list for the main list. The ordered list for the main list. Then the nested list, I want to use the UL. You can see it now. So the first list now we can say types of fruits. Then the next list we can say types of animals. Then inside the types of animals we can add a UL, then an LI. We can say goats, cow, then let's say cats. You can see the difference now. This list, this second list now is inside the first list. So basically that's what we are asked to do here when it comes to create a list, ordered or unordered list, and one nested list, at least one nested list. Then the last task here says,
now I get something.
Yeah.
So sorry to cut you.
Okay, no problem.
Sorry to cut you. Now in the listing of nested list now.
Yes.
As if you are even starting with ordered lists, then under the ordered list now where we have types of fruits.
Yes.
On ordered list now content, then we are now going to still do the listing out like that one by one.
Yes.
Okay.
So the idea of nested list is more like a list inside a list.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. So the fifth tags here. It says add an internal link within the page and an external link that opens in a new tab. So how do you add a link to your page? Use the anchor tag, which is A. Okay, and you can say this is an internal link. Okay, it says add an internal link within the page and an external link. So let's add an external link using the anchor tag as well. You can say this is an external link. Okay, so let's see if that opens in a new tab, because we are asked to open the external link in a new tab. So what the difference between internal link and external link is that internal links are links that are locally on your host. For instance, now let's say you have a website and you are currently in the home page. You want to link to the about us page in that same website. That's an internal link.
Okay.
Because the link you are pointing to is within your project. Then an external link is that when you are pointing to an external website. For instance, now as we are creating this website, we want to point to Google, or we want to point to our social media profile, our Facebook profile, our Twitter profile. That's an external link.
That's an external link, abi?
Yes.
Okay.
So for instance, now let's say we want to link our internal link. We can just say about.html, or let's say internal.html.
Internal.html.
Yes. So whenever we click on this link, it's going to take us to the internal.html page within our website.
Sure.
Then let's say
Sure.
we want to link to an external link. You can use the HTTP or www, depending on the link you are pointing to. Let's say facebook.com/external link.html. Okay, so right now we are pointing to an external link, which means this link is not, or this file is not currently in the same directory or the same server with our website file. Is hosted in an external server. So it also says that we should open the external link in a new tab, which means when we click on it, the link should open in a new tab. So to do that, you need to set the target attribute. The target attribute. Okay, this is the target attribute. We have the blank, parent, self, and top. Okay, the blank here is what we need, which means if we set the target attribute to _blank, it means that
for our external link to the direct target of our external link.
Yes. The target of our external link now, we want it to open on a new tab whenever we click on it. That's why we are setting the target attribute to blank. So if I should open this now in a live server, and whenever I click on that link, whenever I click on this external link now, you see that it will open in a new tab. You can see it, that it will open in a new tab. Okay, can you hear me now?
Network is floppy. I can hear you. The network is floppy. The screen has disappeared.
Okay. Can you see my screen now?
I'm trying. Not yet. I'm trying to see how to reconnect back.
Okay.
Oh, this is serious. The network is.
Okay, can you see my screen now?
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
Yes, I can see.
So what I was trying to say is that when I click on this internal link, you see it will open on the same page because I did not set the target attribute to blank. But on the external link, when I click on it, it will open in a new tab, different from the tab we have our website on. You can see it. So
Yeah.
that's the difference. If you want a link to open in a new tab, you set the attribute to _blank. Okay, so basically that's what our week 3 assignment is about. That's what our week 3 assignment is about. This is it. Though you can decide to improve on the design, but these are these are the fundamentals or the things you need to add to your design. You need to add an image with all of these attributes. You need to add a list with a nested list. Then you need to add an internal link, then also an external link. So I believe that's clear, right?
Yeah, I got that.
Okay, so we can move to our week 4.
Got that.
Let's see. Our week 4 assignments. It's still loading. Today is week 5. Okay, this is our week 4 assignment, and it says is about CSS, cascading style sheets, which is about linking CSS to our web page or using CSS to style our web page. So let's just wait for it to load up. Still loading. I believe it's my network. What's happening to my network? Can you all still hear me? Hello? Hello? Can you all still hear me? Network is bad.
I don't try. No, because all those week 7, week 8, whatever. All right, now.
Okay.
Mr. Steven, thank you for coming back.
Yes, I was having some network issues. Okay, can you see my screen now?
I've not seen it. But it's like it's loading as it used to.
Okay.
Me, I can't see it yet.
Okay. Once you see, just let me know.
Okay, I will do that. I've not seen it.
Okay. So basically, our week 4 is about using CSS on our web page, using the element, class, ID, and pseudo classes. Okay, so let me just copy the tags for week 4.
Okay, now I can see the screen.
Okay, you can see it now. Okay, so this is the tags for our week 4. The first one here, it says create a new pen on CodePen, which means you have to sign up on codepen.io. Write and test your code within the editor. Once you are satisfied, you save your work and copy your pen URL. Okay, so this is like an overview of what you have to do. So the first one here says style a web page. It says style a web page using different CSS selectors.
I have signed up for it. Let me try it.
Okay, good. So the first tag here says style a web page using different CSS selectors. Remember, we have different CSS selectors, which means you can select an element using the element name, the class name, the ID, or the pseudo classes. Okay, so what we are going to do now, let's add our style tag here, which is inside our head. We are going to add the style tag, and let me just delete this. The first tag here says style the element using the element selector, class, ID, or pseudo classes. So I want to style our H1. I want to style our H1 using the element selector. So how do we do that? Is by getting the name of the element. For instance, this H1 now, the name of the element is called H1. So I'm just going to type H1, and I'm going to change the color. I want to change the color to red. Okay, so with this now, we have used the element selector to style these our elements. Can you all hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So with this now, we have used the element selector to style this our element, which means we have used the element name to style the element. Then to use the class selector, what you need to do is that you need to give the element a class name. So we want to give our second element, which is the H2, we want to give it a class name, and let's say second. Okay, we have given it a class name called second, so we are going to copy the class name and we go to our CSS style. If it's a class name, or if you want to style an element using the class name, before you type the class name, you need to add a dot followed by the class name. Okay, so you add your curly brackets and the style you want to apply to this element. So let's say you want to change the font size to, let's say, 15 pixel. Okay, so right now you can see we have styled. So right now we have styled the second element using the class selector. We gave the element a class and we use that class to style the element. Okay, then also we have the ID selector. The ID selector is similar to the class selector. What you need to do is to give your element an ID. Okay, so let's give it an ID. Let's say Ted, and let's copy the name of the ID. Then for ID, remember for class you use dots. For ID, use the hash sign followed by the name of the ID and your curly brackets. Okay, so let's say we want to change or want to style this element now. Let's say we want to change the color to pink, or let's just change it to green. Okay, so we have successfully styled our third paragraph using the ID selector. Can you all still hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
Okay, so we'll start the third paragraph now using the ID selector. Then lastly here we have the pseudo classes. The pseudo classes are more like the, what will I say it now, more like getting an element on a particular state. Okay, for instance now we have the hover state, like when you put your mouse on the element, what you want the element to have. Okay, so let's do that using our link here. Let's go to our link, which is this our anchor element. We want to style this element that whenever we put our mouse on this link, we want it to remove this underline. You can see the text is underlined. Okay, we want to style it in a way that whenever we put our mouse on it, we want to remove this underline using a pseudo selector or a pseudo class. So what we are going to do, remember I want to style our link, so we use the anchor tag followed by the pseudo class. For the pseudo class now, you are going to use this dot, which is a column, okay, followed by the class name, which is alva. Sorry, we want to use the alva class and we are going to add our curly brackets. So what we want to do is that I want to change the text decoration, text decoration to none. You can see now whenever we put our mouse on the anchor element, it's going to remove the underline because we have set the text decoration to none. We can do the same thing for this paragraph, that whenever we put our mouse, we want to change the text decoration to, let's say, underline. Okay, you can do the same thing for any of these elements, but we want to just do it for our anchor element or our link element. So that's what we have just done using that's what we have just done that for the first task now that we are asked to do. Okay, so the next one here, it says build a responsive web page using media query that adjusts for mobile, tablet and desktop view. Okay, so to do that now, let's create a section that we are going to style using the media query. Let's create a section. Let's just come here, or let's do it on top of this so that we can see it. Let's just create a div.
Sorry to cut in. Please hope the recording is still going on.
Let me see. I think so. Yeah, it's still going on.
Okay. The network is fluctuating, the screen is just appearing, coming off, going off.
Okay.
But I know that is network, there is nothing we can do about that. But if the recording is still going on, I can just download it and follow up.
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. Yeah.
So we want to create different layout now that we are going to start using our media query. So we have created a div now, which is a section, and inside this div, let's say we want to add 3 divs. Okay, we want to add 3 divs. Let's just duplicate this. Let's say box 1, and let's duplicate box 2 and box 3. Okay, so we are going to give each of these div now. I want to give it a class so that we can use it to style it. Let's give it a class called box, and let's give it another class called box 1, which is b1. Okay, remember you can give your elements multiple class name. So that's what we have done right now, and we are going to call this other one box 2, and the last one box 3. Okay, so we gave them a common class called box, and we gave them a unique class called b1, b2 and b3. Okay, so we want to style it now. We are going to say, since it's a class now, we are going to use dot, and we'll say box. We want to style all the class name that has this box, all the element that has this class name called box. That's what we want to style. Now I want to give it a width of, let's say, 111 pixel, and height of 111 pixel. Okay, and let's say we want to give it a background color of, let's say, tomato. Okay, so you can see each of these box now. Let's just add space to differentiate, or so that we can easily identify each of the elements. Let's add, and we can add space using the margin. Okay, so let's say margin top margin top to 11 pixel. Okay, so you can see our boxes right now. So we want to style each of these elements now using the media query. So how do we do that now? First thing first, let's give this parent container a class or an ID. Let's say parent box. Okay, and we are going to apply media query to style this, because that's what, let me remove this one. That's what it says. It says build a responsive web page using media query that adjusts for mobile, tablet and desktop. So we are going to come here now and say the parent box. Okay, we want to set it by default. We want to set the display. We want to set the display to flex. Okay, and we want to set the flex direction to columns. Okay, that's for the mobile, which means we want our layout to be like this on mobile. Then if you want to set it for desktop or for tablets, okay, you can use the media query. Use the media query, media screen, and you can either use the max width or the min width. Okay, depending on what you want to achieve. So let's use the minimum width, because we want to set it that it should start from, let's say, from 300 pixel upward. So that's why I want to set the minimum width. So we say minimum width is min width. I want to set it to 300. let's say 300 pixel. Okay, so right now we have set the minimum width that for screen sizes that are above 300 pixel, it should apply this particular style that I want to add here. So we can just copy this parent box because that's what we want to start now for different screen size. And let me arrange this code. So instead of column now, we can change it to row. Okay, so instead of column, we can change it to row, that whenever the screen size is above 300 pixel, because right now we use the minimum width. The minimum width is whenever the size is above the width that you set as the minimum width, it's going to apply the style there. Okay, so that's what we have done now. We say whenever the width is above 300 pixels, you should apply this style here. So let's see. I believe we are missing something. Let me see. Media query. The mean width. I don't know why this thing is always like this most times. And let me see. Mean width. I'm missing something. Okay, yeah. So minimum width, use the column and not the equal to. You just use the column 300 pixel. So you can see it now. On smaller screen, you see that the layout is going to change, which means on this screen size now, can you all still hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Okay. So you can see now on this screen size, which means if it's displaying it as column, it means the screen is still below 300 pixel. Once the screen is above 300 pixel, it's going to display it as row. So that's what we have just done now. So you can see it now. The screen is above 300 pixel at this point. Once it goes below 300 pixel, it will reverse back to row. Okay, then the same way, if you want to set it for desktop, you can just copy this, and what you are going to change now is the minimum width. You can say, okay, desktop can start from, let's say, 800 pixel. Okay, from 800 pixel, let's say 800 pixel. From 800 pixel, we want to change the layout of this our content. So we can just say from 800 pixel, we want to apply row reverse. Okay, which means instead of box 1, box 2, box 3, it's going to start from box 3, box 2, box 1. That's at 800 pixel. So let's check. Let me adjust the screen so that we can see it. You can see it now. Box 3, box 2, box 1. Okay, so that's how we have just used media query now to style our layout. Once the screen goes below 800 pixel, you see that the layout is going to change. You can see it. Once it's above 800 pixel, it changed back to this row reverse, which is box 3, box 2, box 1. Then once it's below 800, it goes back to box 1, box 2, box 3. And once it's below 300, it goes back to column. The flex direction goes back to column. That's what we have done. Yeah, you can see it now. So I believe that's clear, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to take this one out. Build a responsive web page using media query. So the next one here is the flexbox and grid system. We have just used the flexbox and we use the display property flex, and the flex direction we just set it to row and column. Okay, so we have used the flex box. It says create one page layout using flex box and another page using grid. So grid is similar to flexbox, but it helps you to create more, how will I say it now, more advanced layout or more complicated layout. Okay, unlike flexbox. So let's do that. Let me just get a section. Let's just duplicate this and let's use this as our grid. Let's say box 1 1 1 2 2 and 3 3, and we are going to say parent grid. Okay, so what we want to do now is that we want to start each of these elements using the grid system. Or let's create more boxes so that we can see it clearly what we are doing. Okay, let's say box 4 and box 5. Okay, so let's change the class name, box 4 and box 5. Okay, so what we want to do now is that we want to style each of these elements using the grid system or the grid layout. So we just come to the, remember the parent box is where you apply the display property to either flex or grid. So let's copy the class name. Okay, let's copy the class name and let's go to our CSS, and well, since it's a class name, we start with dots and we set the display property to grid. Okay, we set the display property to grid, display to grid. We don't want to use, because this, for this section now, we don't want to use the flex box method. We want to use the grid system. So let's go down and let's just set the size of these boxes again so that it does not look the same as what we use for the flex. So let's see the class. I'll use box. Let's add another X. So let's style it. Copy and right here. Let's see our box. I want to set the height. Let's see, we want to set the height to 22 pixels. Okay, or let's increase it to 32 pixels, and the background color, let's set the background color to Dodger blue. Okay, and let's add spacing around all your grid elements. You can use the gap property. Okay, you can use the gap property. For instance, when you say gap, you can just set the gap to 10 or 11 pixels, and it will add spacing around your content. You can see it right now. So you can also use margin. You can use margin to add spacing as well, depending on what you prefer. You can use either the gap or you can use the margin. Okay, so let's just leave it as gap for now. And so what we want to do now is that we want to set each of these layouts. You can see it now. Let's just add spacing so that it will differentiate our flex from our grid. So let's add margin at the top. Margin top 22 pixels. Okay, so let's say on mobile now, you can see that this layout is okay on mobile, but on desktop you can see, or on tablet you can see that these content are being stretched from one place, from the starting to the ending. Let's say we don't want this type of layout on our tablet screen. Okay, so we can use the media query now to set how we want it to look like on tablet. You can come here, since we already have this media query, you can come here and write the style you want to apply. But let's just create a separate media query now for our grid elements. Okay, can you all still hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so let's create a separate media query now for our grid elements. So we have set the parent container to grid, the display property to grid. So what we want to do now is that we want to set, the next thing we need to do now is that we want to set the layout or the structure of these our elements for a particular screen size. Okay, so we can come here and see these are our parent element now, or our parent grid. Let's just copy and let's paste it here, and let's format. Okay, so these are parent element now. We want to arrange it. For instance, let's say we want to set the columns to 3, which means we want to assign 3 columns for our grid elements. When it comes to tablet screen size, we can just say for our parent container, we want to set the grid template columns. What this does is that it divides or it shares our content. It creates like a template for our content, which means an area for our content. So we want to create 3 columns of equal sizes. So to do that, we can just say you can use the repeat, or you can just write the template here. But let's just use the repeat 3 columns 1 FR, which is equal sizes, 1 fraction of for each of the column. Each of the columns are going to have equal sizes, which means they are going to divide it into equal sizes. So our grid 1 now, where is it again? Which is this first element now. To style this first element now, we can just say copy, which is box 1, and we want to style it to span across the grid column now. Grid column, we want it to span 1/2. Okay, I want to span across 1/2, which means it's going to take from the starting, it's going to start here and what am I saying? It's going to start here and it should end, let's see, it's column 3. Okay, yeah, on 1. Let me see what's happening. 1, 2, 1, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, what the grid column does is that it arranges the content, and for our first box, we want it to start. We are assigning this grid column now to our first box, that we want it to start from 1, which is this first. Let me just open this in a live server so that I can explain it more better. Inspect and where is it? Good. Okay, so these are the values. You can see these values here, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, these are the values that you can use to arrange your elements. Okay, so this is 1. If I say span from 1 to 2, which means it's going to take 1, 2. So if I say span from 1 to 3, it's going to take 1, 2, and 3. Okay, is that clear? Hello, can you all still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. The network is complete. I don't know if you can take that again. The 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, so the grid section now is that it has these lines. If you click on, you can see my mouse here. If you click on it now, it's going to toggle these numbers on. Okay, what we are trying to do is that we want to set this our first grid item. We want it to span, or we want it to take from this first line here. Okay, we want it to span to this last line. Okay, so that's what we have just done now. That's why when we set the grid column, like this grid column we set here now, we say the grid column should span from 1 to 3. Okay, which is 1, 2, and 3. Okay, that's what we have just done. Let's also set the grid template for the rows. Grid template rows, we are going to say repeat. We want 3 rows, 1 FR. You can decide to use a value here, which means like a pixel. Let's say 100 pixel, 200 pixel. But I'm just using this 1 FR, which is 1 fraction, to give them equal size. Okay, so we can as well set the row. You can say the grid row, we want the grid row to span from 1/2. Okay, which is the grid row now will now be 1, 2. You can see it here, the 1 at the top and the 2 at the bottom. Okay, so if we should increase this now to 3, let's see. Yeah, you can see it now. It's going to take an extra line at the bottom. You can see it now because it's spanning 1, 2, 3. You can see it. Then if I should do it now, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's going to span to this extent. If I change it now to 4, you see it now that it's going to span. Okay, I believe it's because we did not set this our template to 4. That's why it's not exceeding that. Let's just set it to 5. You can see it now. When we increase the template rows to 5, you can see it now that it's spanning 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see it now. It's taking up to 4 spaces. You understand? So that's what the grid row is about. Sometimes it might be confusing for you to understand the rows and columns, but when you start writing the code, you might mistake. Okay, you might think, okay, this is the row and this is the column, but when you start writing the code, you get to understand it. Okay, so let's just go back to the 1 FR row, and we want our column to span our rows. We want our rows to span 1, 2, which means we want it to just be or remain at the top. Okay, and let's say for instance now we want to style this our third box. You can come down and pick, or let's just style this our fifth box. Where is it again? Okay, this is our fifth box. You just pick the class name, or if it's an ID, you pick the ID, and you come to your media query, and you see the fifth box. We want the grid column. Remember the grid column. The grid column now you can see it here. We want it to span from this part here to this last part. So let's do that. We should be from it's going to start from 1 and it should span to 3. Okay, you can see it now. It's going to start from 1 and it should span to 3, which is the last part. Then while for the grid row, you can just leave the grid row, or if you want to also adjust the grid row, you can do the same thing. But for this, if you want it to span 1/2, you can see it now. It's just taking this first part to this second part. You can see it. Let's check. Where is it again? The grid. So you can see it now. It's taking it from this first. One thing you should understand, that if you are setting the grid row, or rather the grid columns, you should know that the grid columns start from this ending to this ending. Okay, so this is 1. This first part, or this starting, is 1. Then the second is 2. Then the last one is 3. Okay, so since I'm doing 1, 2, it means it's going to take from here to here. Let me increase this part. Let's change it to 4, or let's change this to 4 1F arrow, which means we are dividing the columns now. We want to divide the columns now into 4. We want to divide the columns into 4, and we want our first column. Let me comment this one. We want our first column now to span 1, 2, 3. Let's do that. 1, 2, 3. Let's see. Let me open this again. What's happening? It should. I'm coming. Let me just check something. I want our column now to span 4 columns, 1F arrow. Okay, let's just style each of the boxes. Let's get our box 2. Box 2. Since the first box is spanning 1 to 3, let's span our grid column for our box 2. Let's start from 3 to 4. Okay, you can see it now. The first box now is spanning 1, 2, 3. Okay, then the second box is spanning 3, 4. I don't know if that's clear. Hello. It's like the network is breaking. Can you hear me? Hello? Okay. Like what we have just done now is that. Okay. So what we have just done is that we have made our box 1 to span across 2 columns. Okay, which means it's spanning across this 1, 2, 3. Okay, but it's 2 columns. But since we are starting the counting from this first line here, it's going to be 3, which is 1, 2, 3. Then for our box 2 now, is spanning across just 1 column, which is 3 and 4. That's what we have done here. So you can just play around with the rows and columns, and you get to understand it more better. The first thing here is, remember, on the parent grid, or on the parent container, which is this container that is holding our grid items, you need to set
Yes.
the row and column, the templates for the rows and columns. You should remember that that's where you set, or that's where you specify the templates, the number of rows and the number of columns that you want. You specify it inside the parent container. Okay, so if I should adjust this screen now to go below 300 pixels, you see that everything is going to change back to the normal style that we have. So let me adjust. Yeah, you can see it now. On mobile, network is breaking, but you can see it now. On mobile, the layouts are being arranged on top of each other. Why, if it goes above 300 pixels, you see that it's going to apply this style that we have written inside our media query. So when I adjust, you can see it now. It's going to apply the style that we have written inside.
Mobile.
I didn't get you, sorry.
Does that fit? Said mobile.
The network is breaking.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
but it seems it's still breaking. But I guess you are trying to ask the size for different device, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So I said on mobile. Fine.
The network is
That's
breaking.
it's led it's on.
Sorry, please come again. Or you can just use the chat section if possible.
That's what I want to do right now.
Okay, I can even hear you clearly now. So you can go ahead.
Think that
Hi. This network. Okay, just use the chat section. Let me see.
hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello.
I can hear you.
I said
Damn.
mobile.
Just use the chat section, please. Use the chat. I can't. It's breaking. But if I get what you're trying to say, maybe you are trying to ask the size for different screen. Okay, is it another setting that we are limited to? No, it's not limited, and also there's no standard size. Like, it's not compulsory that you must use 300 pixel or you must use 320 pixel. It all depends on the type of design or the type of layout you want to create. Okay, there are some designs that you want to do. You want such designs to appear only on a particular screen size. So you want to determine the screen size that you want that design to appear on. You can use 301 pixel, you can use 305 pixel. Okay, it all depends on what you are creating. So is that clear?
Yes, I got it.
Okay. There's a tool I use sometimes. It's called a simulator. It's an extension on Google Chrome. This is the extension right here. Let me just go to this tab and open it. This is the extension. You see that it's going to open my preview on a mobile simulator. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
Yes, more like a mobile device, and I can pick different device, which means once I'm designing, I can view it. Okay, if the design is looking good on mobile, I can use this simulator to check. Okay, I can also pick different device. You can see the various device that they have here. I can just pick any of these. Okay, let's say I want to view it on tablet. I can come to this tablet section. I can say iPad mini. I'll just select it and it's going to show my design on iPad. Okay, and if you look closely at these designs, you can see the sizes. Like this first one here, it says 360 by 800, which means the screen size of this device is 360 pixels. If you check this, is 360 pixels. You can see most of them here are 360 pixels. But once I get to this Google Pixel now, you can see the screen size has changed. This one now is 393 pixels. This one here is 412 pixels. So you can see that the screen size varies. It all depends on the device. So you can decide to target 360 pixels. You can decide to target 412 pixels. Okay, but it's recommended that the recommended size, it should be for mobile, it should be up to 360 pixels. That's like the recommended size. If I should come to this Apple section, you can see Apple has smaller dimension. You can see the Apple now is 320 pixels. 320 pixels. You can see them. So there's no one size that covers everything. It all depends on what you are trying to create and how you want it to look on the different screen size. Then this one here now is like a laptop. I can select the laptop. You can see the screen size is 1280. So you can use this extension too as a guide to preview your design. It's called a simulator. It's a Chrome extension. Let me search for it. It's called simulator. So you can install it on your browser so that when you are checking the responsiveness of your design, you can easily just toggle the extension on instead of you sending the link to your mobile phone to view on your mobile phone, or using the inspect element. You can just use the simulator to look at what you are doing, if it's responsive across various devices. Yeah. So just like what we have done now for this screen size, we can do the same thing for higher screen size, which is for desktop. You just need to duplicate this code and you change the minimum width. Maybe the minimum width now, you can start from 800 pixels and you manipulate or change how you want the layout to look on wider screen. So let me just do that right now. Let me copy this and let's see, for wider screen of up to 700 pixels, I want to change the, okay, let me say I want to change the fifth box now. let's say I want to change the fifth box to span from 1 to 4, which means I want the fifth box to take 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so I can do that. Let me just adjust the screen so that you can preview what you have done. You can see it now. On wider screen, I've set this fifth box now. Is the meeting still on? Okay. So on wider screen, I've set this our fifth box to span from 1 to 4, which is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, if I should reduce the screen size, you will see that it's not going to apply this style. It's going to apply the style for the current screen size that we are on, which is this. On smaller screen of 300 pixels, which is below 700 pixels, this is the style that is going to apply. The box 5 is going to span from 1 to 2, which is 1, 2. Okay, I can adjust it here. Okay, on tablet I want it to span to 3, which is 1, 2, 3. Okay, but on desktop now, let's take for instance now that this is our desktop screen size. I want it to span from 1 to 4, which is going to take the entire column. So this is it. So you can just manipulate it the way you want it to appear on different screen sizes. So is that clear? Hello?
Hello, I get you. It's clear.
Okay.
I didn't know that my mic was clear.
Okay, no problem.
Sincerely, you have done so much this evening. This is great. I am grateful, sincerely.
Yeah, you're welcome.
As soon as you put the link for the
video,
I will download it again. And by God's grace, I can say for sure that between now and next Saturday, God help me, I will have to take the chance no matter what. At least I should be able to submit the required form of the assignments.
Okay.
And I think I will still try God to go beyond that, to do something meaningful.
Alright, no problem.
So that's the best year, this effort of yours to ensure that it really pays. Thank you so much. I am grateful.
Alright, sir, no problem. So once I've uploaded it, I will paste the link in the group.
No problem.
Okay.
No problem.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I am really, really grateful.
Alright, sir. Okay. Alright, good night, sir.
Alright.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good night.